Hello, everybody. It's Rob again. And as promised, maybe this one today will be a total mess. Let's see. Let me first check here on the right side. We have a bit of audio leaking. Yesterday, I would do a bit about Nova, this band I played in early in 1982. This was even a #1 hit in the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands. A very sunny record, and I promised one guy to start to recreate this by using synthesizers. And of course, it's not as easy as some people might think. So, okay, so let's see if these things are going well. So what I did for some people, it might be the case that they don't know this record. So what I did is pick the audio waveform. So if I go here, you can see here's my music program. And here we can see the sequencer. Yes, you can see it. So here's the song. This is the original song. And let's play it so that you have an impression of this song. You heard this boof, boof at the end. That was the Korg MS-20. I had a pink noise and I hit the note, so boof. And what we did at that time, I mean, it's talking about 1982, is we had, of course, the demo of it, and then the record company liked it. We went to the big studio, and well, at that time there were no digital reverbs, so we, the engineer, sent the snare and, for instance, also some of the percussion sound into the studio room, and then at the end of the studio he recorded that with two condenser overhead, and that was the room sound. So yeah, it was a really a spring, a nice song for in the spring. At the first, they didn't want to play this record, but then they start playing it a few minutes before the 12 o'clock news, or exactly for the news. But then people start complaining, well, finish this song off, because they only heard on the beginning. And then it took off. So it's of course in the early age of the Dutch synthesizer music scene, and at that time I was 17 or 18 years old, so I was really a rookie in the studio together with Peter and Ruth. Peter and Ruth were a bit older than me. Yeah, it was a great time, and so let's see if I can reproduce this. And where I started here is by using BIT. So I call this part 1 because I'm not sure how far I get with this. So in the intro I don't have yet. So what I started is to find the tempo, and it's 100 beats per minute with 100 extra, so something like that. So, and then I made this sequence, which is in the basic what you hear in the bass. So so here it is. It starts playing with BIT. So when I bring down so a sequence like this it was, and then it was this, I think the Korg MS-20 or the MS-10 also could be. So it has a mono delay. So to make it not interfere with the bass, which I will add later on, I put a high pass filter, so got a bit the low end. So this one is not bad at all if you hear the original. Of course you need to hear in the original then. Okay, there's already another one. Sorry. So I was... And you hear then also second sequencer. But if you listen carefully, that's the one which starts in the beginning, fades in. But there's another one which is also playing, which I need to add, of course, also. So, okay, so this is then one of them, which... Now it's a bit too loud. So what I did today is, or not today, I'm just started 1 hour before the live stream and searching for the right tempo. So it's 130 beats per minute and 1 0, so a bit over 130 beats per minute. So let's see. So this is what I did, and then you see that this sequence, if it starts. So the sequence is an E. It's E major, and then the solo starts to play in E major, and then it modulates to D major, and then D major, and then it gets the D major solo line, which is this one. I just pick a preset. So just ahead of the live stream I played that in. So it's placed then in D major, and then after that it plays in C. Here it comes in C. Oh, it's not so well played, this one. So this sound is not the sound which I'm seeking. I just pick one of the presets which doesn't fit currently. And then the song modulates to the back to A major again. Then they all play together. So now it doesn't sound as it should be, but of course it's a start. Maybe the last tune in arpeggiator sound in the original detuned. Yeah, it's of course at that time it was the SQ10, so we had to tune it manually. So let's listen back. So what I have now. So I just started. So the lead sounds are not the ones we are seeking. I just added them so that we have a bit of a reference point. So the sequencer sound that was ready a bit. And that one is inside of this song, but there you also hear something else. I think it's also a bit lighter, a bit higher maybe. Here's some weird chuck chuck, chuck chuck, chuck chuck. That was, I think, the also a Korg MS-10, I think. Let's see if I can create that sound now next. So let's try this everything with the with BIT. We could use that one. So I pick another BIT. Here it is. I start from scratch. Go to default preset. And it looks like this sequence that it's about the same. So what I could do is copy over this track to the lower track. And it's then the same sound or the same sequence, but it should be then a different sound. So let's see how that will go. Play solo. Yeah, it's very, very hard. Yeah, okay. So I can hear a kind of movement. So I think it's a square waveform which is used. And then there's a second oscillator who does this noise part. So I pick here the noise part, white note. So something like this, and let's see. So there was an LFO. No, so it's not going the way I want. So I shut down the other one, the audio. So second filter, I take a band pass. I'm not sure if it was a Core MS-20 or the SQ10, so okay, let's see how this fits together. That's a pretty tricky one on this whole song. Okay, let's play. Too much noise. Yeah, that's a hard one. So you see, it's a combination, but the second combination in the track is very hard to recognize. Okay, so I mean this maybe it's simply only tac 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 instead of this full sequence. Oh, I'm checking in the meantime if yeah, it's something that the echo is not 100% yet. It's a bit typical, the echo. It's not really MIDI time based. I think it's done on listening to it. It's a bit flop flop flop. Yeah, it's doubled. Sounds a bit double. But for some reason the second sound I don't get really as it should be. It has a kind of accent inside of it, which is I currently. Now it's a bit closer. Now it's getting closer, but not as it should be. So maybe I want to do that in the next time, adding this one. Okay, checking here the user wave in BIT. No, it's really BIT is really based on virtual analog. So okay, so I quit this project for now. Next week I hope to get a bit more. Some sounds I really need to to investigate myself to find it the real thing. So here we have in BIT, it has really the classic analog waveforms. Although by using so when I go here to this one, okay, let's open one. Okay, so go to default preset. So here we have the sinus waveform. You see it's a readout, but what we added here is a weird thing which is called the feedback. So this way you still can do some different sounds. I even succeeded in FM type of sounds, but essentially the basic of it all is the it's virtual analog. So when I go here to synth, so this is of course a sound which is basically not standard a subtractive or a virtual analog sound. Although if you have a virtual analog machine and it can do, or an analog machine that can do frequency modulation or phase modulation, you can do this type of sound, because what happens here, oscillator 1 modulates oscillator 2. So it's really like patching. Okay, oh well, no, this lead sound what you hear, Johan has still a question about this track I'm trying to do. No, this lead sound that was originally Korg MS-20. So that one I really need to recreate. The other one what you heard is just fast done one sound. So but next week I will prepare a bit more about this song so that I have a bit more time. So then we, because some sounds like the sequencer I found pretty easy, the basic sequencer, but the other one, I'll really have to sort that one out. So back to BIT. And you see here in oscillator 1, it doesn't go to the filter, but only modulates oscillator 2. So if I bring this down, this amount, here's a square. Yeah, and what also is the case, the advanced panel here, you can see that you use the envelope. It has its own envelope. You could use the envelope is here used for controlling the volume. So the modulation of oscillator 1 to oscillator 2 has its own volume envelope, which makes that it not continuously modulates, but according to a certain volume curve. So if I change here the decay, so BIT is from that point really a modular synthesizer with little things we added inside of it, so that you can use, for instance, the oscillator 1 to modulate oscillator 2 and shut it down from going to the filter, and really use it as a kind of patching in a modular synthesizer. So sounds pretty dirty, but by using this you can really make some different waveforms just by using the classic synth wave. So let's see if I can find it very fast for you. Not sure if this one uses the, let's see where I find it. Oh, here it is. Just by using FM synthesis. So yeah, from that point, the BIT is much deeper than the surface does show. And back to the live stream here in the chat. Are you preparing this beautiful old song to perform at eLive? No, at eLive I only play the Daydreamer CD, some pieces of that, and some new material. So no, and not Nova material. And essentially it's also a time problem, because I need to play there for 1 hour, and it's pretty much work to prepare everything. And of course I need to rehearse. Well, drawing your own waveforms is of course the thing which you can do with Predator 2. So Predator 2 is very great on that subject. Let's see. So the list shows Predator, but it's not Predator 2. Okay. here, let's take here Predator 2. Oops, oh, again. That's the wrong one. Let's see. Here it is. In this one, you can draw your own waveform. You go to user waves down here, and then hoppa, you can have a big screen. Draw it here, do partials. So drawing own waveforms, that's really the thing which is very cool in Predator 2. That makes Predator 2 very different compared, for instance, to a synthesizer like BIT or Bluetooth. So it's really focusing on these things so that you get these presets. Okay. Yeah, go-to about waveform combining. Yeah, essentially with go-to, if you combine two waves together, you also get some very interesting thing. Essentially, go-to has, like, there's an oscillator where you can morph between two waveforms. Of course, Predator 2 goes far deeper than that, but yeah, I mean, it's also more work than in Predator 2 and in go-to. This all works very fast. There you also can go very fast from one sound to another, and by simply picking two waveforms, like spectrum waveforms, you also, by mixing them, you can really create a new waveform. So let's go to, where is it? Add track, go to instruments. Here it is. So if we have here in, go down to the default preset. So that's not default. Okay. Oh. Okay, here it is. So of course starts with a saw waveform. But if I pick here, let's say one of these spectrum waveforms, so something like this, and take here another one, you essentially have different trillion waveforms. So this one again, just by combining these, you already have a new waveform. So, and that's the cool thing about Go-To, is that of course everything is visible in front and you can do a lot of cool things. And here you have also different mode. Now it mixes, but you also can have morphing, ring modulation, or FM between the two waveforms, or wave shape. And then you say, okay, it's only one oscillator. No, that's not really true. If you open the spread, it makes it a two oscillator synth. Or you can use unison, and then you can pan left right, which is of course. So now you have very fast, let's say, a type of so. It's amazing synthesizer in terms of what you can do with the waveforms. So the basic idea was that the idea behind Go-To is that we did not have a synthesizer which you can compare, for instance, to the hardware SH101 or the more simpler Yamaha SH, what was it, 01? No, Yamaha was a CS01. So, and of course the S101 is a one oscillator synthesizer, and yeah, some cool things. And so SH101 compared to, for instance, the Jupiter 8 is of course a far more simpler synthesizer. But still you can do some cool stuff with it. So the idea was to make a synthesizer which has essentially everything in front, and where you have then not as many possibilities as, for instance, a Predator 2 or Blue 2, but still a very cool synthesizer, and you totally run into different sounds. So that's the fun part, of course, of sounds. You see, and of course, making another SH101 would not be exciting for me to do. I mean, that's done already, and so I thought this was really a nice concept, and this really took off. People really love it, and it's great for doing all kind of music. So synth music, synthesizer sounds for techno dance, and of course, especially when you see we had this the chord memory with the chords, so minor. So you can do some weird, even, so let's see, spread, links right. So let's make it a bit fatter. A bit of delay. So these type of things are very cool. So I'll go back here to 2. Okay, shall I save this one, and maybe let me save this one. Save preset as. Call this one a nice one. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to the right side to see if there is anybody having a question. So it's a bit different live stream than the other times. I started with trying to recreate an old song we did as our band, but will take a bit more time. One sequencer did succeed, but I need some more time to prepare this, and then we'll do that. Yeah, Predator 2, I totally agree. Predator is very, very deep, and yeah, as mentioned, each synthesizer has its strong points and focus. So what I like about the Predator 2, of course, there are many presets, over, I think, almost 6,000. So the starting in the bank manager with 00, 030. These are the new ones, and 101 introduction here. This is the original one, which then also sound nicer because we improved the reverb code and other things. Of course, this is not Predator 2 what you hear. I need to go back to it. So there are many presets on board. Both very analog styles since you hear my clicking on the keyboard. It really has also classic sounds on board. These are essentially all sounds which are from the original Predator 1.6, so there are many presets on board, all kind of things. And yeah, what I like is, of course, if you use these waveforms, so the cool thing about this one, it goes through the waves, and I'm not sure. think it's, I need to see how this is done. The arpeggiator free row controls morph 1. So the free row from the arpeggiator here makes that you go to a different waveform in oscillator 1. So essentially, this is just one oscillator playing in Predator 2. So sometimes people say, okay, you need to shut on all the oscillators to have a big sound. That's nonsense. So this is really only one oscillator sound, and the waveform changes because of the arpeggiator. So that's really a cool thing, that you can go from one waveform to another. Let's see this one. So these type of sounds are very different than the original one. The original Predator 2 was far more let's say, subtractive, but this is also with the wavetables makes it really very different. And of course the sheer amount of good presets is so this one uses Vox wave type. So these are additive waveforms, but you even could see them. So if you go to the user waves, big screen, then here you have the waveforms, the internal waves. There is, if I'm not wrong, Vox02 is inside of it. There it is. There's Vox02. So this is a analyzed waveform from a vocal. And of course, drawing this, it's impossible for us as humans. So what the program does, it analyzes the harmonic content and reproduces it. In this case, it's Vox 4, I can see. Very dark this way. And of course, yeah, many cool presets. This is from the ambient bank, which is out in more newer. Some yeah, this is maybe cool to tell, because yeah, it's a very deep synthesizer, this one. So I go here to the normal view, go back to the main screen. This one, you use 3 oscillators, but these are connected in also a kind of FM synthesis mode. So you see oscillator 1, it doesn't go to the filter, it's shut down. So it's shut down and it modulates oscillator 2. So it's phase modulation by oscillator 1, and this is the amount. And that one also not goes to the filter, but it goes to oscillator 3, which is then phase modulated by 2. So this is pretty much a little Bluetooth type of sound. So here we use the 3 oscillators in a FM setup. So this is a very expressive and bit percussion type of sound. So very spacey, of course. It's the ambient bank. What is this? Wine? So here's a wine grid arpeggiator sound, which is again the arpeggiator, and this is the case that we use a wave set here. 1 oscillator, Seems to be very percussive. So this is from the ambient bank. But of course, yeah, there's many sounds on board. Of course, fantastic material by always Jamal. Always having cool stuff. Just picking. Let's see. Yeah, well, the fact is that with Predator 2 you can be busy for a long time just playing the presets and having fun. Yeah, well, it's of course different than a core sample. Some mention a choir sample, but of course it's different because it's just one single waveform. So it takes a very short fraction of the sample, analyzes it, and then you get this vocal type of sound. So let me see if I can find it again. So to show you. For instance, I will use this Fox 2 is in fact here's examples. Okay, I'll go to default and I go to Fox 2. So that's in the Fox 2. Where are you? Let me see. Fox 2. Essentially, you hear a bit the ah inside of it. And of course, this is too static, so you really need to make this a nicer sound. Well, the way I could do this is simply by picking another one, because vocals, if you want to have a choir, these are more people. So I would take this waveform again, in the second oscillator, and in the third oscillator. Where is it? And then I show you guys a trick what you can do to make sounds thicker with using 3 oscillators. So now I have 3 oscillators, all the same waveform. They start to phase a bit. Now I go to the modulation section. I pick one LFO and set it in poly mode. That's okay. Destination of it would be then oscillator 2 and the fine tune. Of course, I need to have a certain speed. Then you got a bit of a chorus. So now the first oscillator, okay, is straight. Second one is a bit modulated. You hear that? Pitch modulated. And together you get a more fuller sound. Well, the third one, I also could add a LFO. Here you go to the third oscillator. Also fine-tune speed. Now it gets starting to get swirly. So now I see we have now the already a fuller sound. I also could use a bit of detuning. And of course, the choir sound is of course not. Now becomes a bit more a real choir. So another thing what I could do is now, let me think, I could make it nice stereo. So I could use unison here, unison 2. So I double the amount of voices, but you hear left, right gets nice this way. of course, then I need to finish this one off with maybe even a bit of chorus, so that it even gets even more fuller. So you need to picture choir many people, so you need to double things. And then of course it would be nice to have a maybe a stereo delay behind it. Now you have a bit of a choir type of sound. So now it's essentially, let me see, maybe also add a bit of reverb. And what sometimes singing people always do is have a bit of pitch glide. So we could add a pitch glide to the first oscillator. Let's see how that will sound. Fine. So you hear now the first oscillator. This one did look, it's not so, this is a vocal guy who is not very stable. But in combination with the other ones, it makes it more alive. So it's of course not a real choir, but it gives the impression it's kind of synth choir type of thing. So let me save this one, save as, so that I can upload this for you. Another Vox 2. I'll call this one another Vox 2. And of course you could also maybe add here. So let's give this a try. So I'm fiddling around, guys. Sorry for that. I put on the morphing. Pick here another Vox. Let's see. We pick Vox 4. So now I could use that one in the X. Let's see. XY play. So I'd start then here with morph 1. So I'm going to be a bit experimental now. So I use the morph. Let's see. You see it goes from one wave. Or I could do it the other way around. But then I need to have positive modulation. So I need to go that way. Okay, play. Of course, I can set this to a given time, sync to 1 bar or 2 bars. So you hear from one goes to another. And of course I could not sure about this one. The movement is not so nice. You see it goes from one to another. Let's make it 1 bar. And this makes it a bit more, even more alive. So the oscillator one has a moving waveform, moving vocals. So this is a moving one. So another Vox save preset as. I will upload them to the info section below. Vox 2, Vox 4. So just by combining things together, so the oscillator 2 and 3 are steady, they are Vox 2, and there is one vocal guy in the choir who moves a bit with his formants, and this is this oscillator 1 which moves from Vox 2 to Vox 4. And of course, this is not really like a sample, but it is a nice thing as a whole. Okay. So yeah, you see, guys, I'm still here. Somebody did ask about Punch 2. Well, it's planned for the end of October. We're working very hard on it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be very, very cool. Uses synthesis combined with excuse me. Combined with samples, and even you can load in Rex files, that kind of stuff. And what I'd like to do now, default preset. Definitely the big screen version from Prisma. I can see it's a bit small on my screen. What I wanted to show you is that I just had this Predator 2 sound, and I load this Predator 2 sound I just created. I go to the manager, fly down, because I put it in the examples, I think. Yeah, here it is. And then I could combine that one, and I would be curious about that. Well, now let's take Vecto. No. Oh no. I take BIT. Okay, let's take the Red Brothers here. Okay, and then go to paths. Here. So now you have the choir from Predator 2 together with a pad sound from BIT. Sounds really different this way. So, well, these are this typical thing what you can do with the typical spectrum waveforms, which then are analyzed. And so this Vox is really an analyzed waveform. Okay, let's go to the right section. It's a bit messy today. Jeder einzelne Step an eigene Chord. Yeah, some has a question about having chords each step. Well, essentially, he means a central arpeggiator, which can, of course, address well, the chord stuff is essentially possible with the with Go 2, because in Go 2, let's see where this baby is. There we have this feature. So let's make here a default preset. Oops. I put on the arpeggiator. Let me shut up view. And here I can set a chord. A fifths. Here I could set in -7. Here -7, and then you get. working yet. Here's the... So that one is already possible with Go 2. Of course, it's more for making a kind of, yeah, housey style. And Sept is also cool. Sept can also be a, let's say, 3 times unison. So Set means that if it's set, then it means that it takes the value which is up here. So unison mode 3. So what's also cool is to use the free row. Let me see which free row. Here we go. The free row up. Free row to control the amplifier decay. And that's just nice. So make that one sustain down. Make it short. So now what happens is each step, so the value 76 increases the decay from the amp. So I'm using simply the free row to control the decay. Then you can make really moving stuff, groovy, other different sounding stuff. Let's see if I have. I don't think that I have a groove in this one now. I'm not sure if things happen. So give me a second, guys. I need to unclick some parts. Okay. So you see, I have a beat with punch running. So these type of things that are with chord, somebody requests, is possible with Go 2. So still use the sub oscillator. It's a nice groovy sound, and of course you need to tweak it, but so yeah, so that's really a nice feature of Go 2. It's really unique. None of the other synthesizers we have does have this feature that you can have on each step a different chord. Of course, you cannot do easily modulations. You can play another note, or you cannot make it suddenly now the groove is really minor, so you not can change it to major, for instance. But this is cool for house type of thing, minimal things, and that kind of material. Okay. Good guys. Yeah. We are at the end of the hour. I will save this preset also for you. File save preset as groovy like I call it. So it will take a bit of while before I can upload it, so maybe it could be tomorrow that you can download it in the info section below, but I will definitely upload these presets tomorrow, so check it out. Hopefully we can see us back next week, Thursday, in another live stream, and I would say, guys, take well and thanks for watching.